Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with TeddyBaldassarre.com. In this video, we're looking at a watch from Longines with the Longines Spirit Collection, looking at a couple different variants at 40 millimeters, both in stainless steel as well as titanium. So in this video and on this channel, we cover watches available for purchase on our website, TeddyBaldassarre.com, as a full authorized dealer. So in this video, deep dive on these timepieces, final points of consideration at the end. And also if you have further questions throughout this video, check out the link in the description where you can learn more, of course, and purchase the watch. But guys, let's jump into the video and take a closer look at the Longines Spirit. So in 2020, Longines debuted the Spirit Collection, a new aviation themed model that combines the brand's well-established prowess in the field of heritage-inspired designs with a more modern execution and impressively capable specifications. In this video, we'll take a look at the Spirit, both in titanium as well as stainless steel, and talk about why these are some of the best everyday watches for the price point starting around $2,000 for the stainless steel option, and then extending up from there as you look into the titanium. Starting with a brief history of Longines, the brand dates back to 1832, making it one of the most established names in the international watch industry. Since 1983, Longines has existed under the Swatch Group umbrella of brands alongside other iconic brands such as Omega, as well as other value leaders such as Hamilton, Tissot, just to name a few. Contextualizing Longines within the overall industry, the brand is responsible for up to 2 million watches per year and is one of the only few brands with annual revenue eclipsing $1 billion. The Longines collection is also impressively broad, offering a wide variety of model families and variations to suit virtually anyone from the most casual watch wearer to a seasoned enthusiast, all while typically offering a compelling value proposition. Now, the history regarding aviation is also rich here, with the brand having timed Charles Lindbergh's non-stop solo transverse of the Atlantic Ocean in 1927, instantly making Lindbergh a household name and catapulting Longines to the forefront of aviation timing. Over the decades to follow, Longines produced a number of iconic pilots' watches, including the predecessor to the modern Big Eye and the military-issued A7. In more recent years, while the Aviation Big Eye has made a more powerful comeback, Longines has lacked a more modern and versatile time-only aviation option, with the Spirit intended to jump into that role while offering multiple case sizes, a titanium variant, as well as a chronograph based on the same dial format. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to look at the 40 millimeter options, both in stainless steel and titanium. We'll talk about some of the differences between them, but let's first talk about the wearability of these watches. Now let's jump in and talk about the wearability of these pieces. And if I have to say, probably the main point of contention for many is going to be the wearability. So this one that we're looking at here, 40 millimeters in diameter, paired with a lengthy 49.6 millimeter lug-to-lug measurement and a case thickness of a pretty slender 12.2 millimeters. Now let's talk in general. When you put these on the wrist, what do you really just have jump out at you immediately? From the case wearability standpoint of 40 millimeters in diameter, everything seems appropriate there and is going to wear true to that size across. Thickness is right there, but what you're going to notice is the lug-to-lug dimension is going to be long. Now there's two things that are being factored in here. Generally, the lugs are going to jut out quite a bit from the case, and 49.6 isn't the most compact lug-to-lug distance even for a 40 millimeter watch. But then added on top of that, and really the thing that changes how this watch wears the most is going to be that extended end length of that bracelet, which is going to measure out over 54 millimeters if you measure at the farthest end. It is going to slope down towards the culminating end of the bracelet, so keep that in mind. It's not going to wear to the fullest extent of that, but this is going to wear larger on the bracelet. One way to work around this, and what I've noticed when putting this on the strap, it's a completely different watch and wearing experience, and it's going to wear true to that lug-to-lug dimension, if not a little bit smaller, given how they're going to slope down quite a bit compared to that of when you have it with that end link extended out on the bracelet. This considered, it is going to probably be the number one point of criticism for many, as when you're looking at a 40 millimeter watch, you're expecting a 40 millimeter wear on the wrist. This is going to wear closer to that of a 41 to maybe 41 and a half when you have it on the bracelet, and closer to a 40 and a half to 41 if you say go for a strap option. Also speaking to the case material, so you have stainless steel and the case finishing is incredibly well done on both of the models, but we also want to talk about the grade 5 titanium version as well. So you are getting a price jump here with this version, but it is incredibly well done. You're pretty much getting the identical approach, and they've done a nice job mirroring some of the case finish elements with the titanium. It is going to have that natural titanium muted tone that many will come to expect. Speaking to the weight on the wrist, it's going to be, with all the links, 94 grams with the titanium, and that is quite light for a full bracelet watch. Comparing that to the stainless steel version, you have 145 grams, so significantly lighter on the wrist. As is often the case with Longines in this price range, the case case and bracelet are well finished, with a mix of brushing and polishing that functions admirably in catching the light while also avoiding any kinds of ostentatious or just blingy feel. A crisp bevel traverses the case sides from the top to bottom with a step bezel and alternating finish that does well in securing your attention. At 3, a screw-down crown with the Longines vintage style signature is responsible for, along with the closed case back affixed with 6 tiny screws, securing this piece's more than adequate 100 meters of water resistance, making it a nice proposition for this everyday type of format. Again, playing the role of subtle and elegant, the bracelet is mostly brushed with small hints of polishing on their sides of the center links. One of the best aspects of this bracelet, I would say, is just how slim it is when talking about thickness. When coming together at that clasp at the other side, you get 5 points of micro adjustment, a 2-button release. It is also not going to have this very bulky nature to it. So the best way I would describe the bracelet is refined, it's thin, and it's not going to extend out from the underside of the wrist. And I think this is one area where many manufacturers don't really think about. Even though it might not be in view when looking straight down on your wrist, you still feel it from the day-to-day during wear. Now, set beneath the safety of a sapphire crystal coated with several layers of anti-reflective material on both sides, the Spirit dial is another intriguing blend of old and new, balancing heritage aviation DNA with elevated modern finishing techniques. While also available in olive green, white, blue, and gray for the titanium version, the stainless steel version has a matte black dial surface with a multi-dimensional effect ode to a raised minute track at the circumference, further offset by a polished steel ring where the minute track meets the dial's lower position center. At the 5-minute positions, the ring is interrupted by tiny diamond-shaped cutouts with prominent applied numerals set just within. Time-telling duties are handled with polished loom-filled baton hands, with the second hand also featuring a red arrow tip. The loom present in this piece is effective and still adequate for time-telling at a glance in darker conditions. At noon, we have the Longines wordmark and winged hourglass logo with 5 applied stars and printed chronometer text at 6, with the stars historically intended to highlight the high level of attention paid to the movement lying within. At 3, a white on black date wheel provides additional utility while not breaking up the rest of the design. Looking at the overall type of approach here with the dial, we have an intriguing refined take on what is often a more rugged presentation when you think of something like a more popular field or aviation style watch on the market, making what could be a unique argument for taking the basic idea presented by something like the Hamilton Khaki Field and bringing it squarely into the world of that entry door of luxury. And while unfortunately not in view beneath the safety of this case back, which features yet another winged hourglass, the caliber inside this Longines Spirit presents another of the watch's stronger selling points, offering extended power reserve and a measure of exclusivity compared to what you might otherwise expect from a watch of this style and at this price range. One of the many benefits of Longines' inclusion among the Swatch Group's powerful assembly of brands is the heightened level of access in collaboration with ETA, the Swiss powerhouse when it comes to third-party movement manufacturing. In recent years, Longines has utilized a series of calibers designed and produced by ETA, but specifically supplied only to Longines. So while this range of movements, including their L888 inside popular models such as the Conquest and Hydro Conquest, as well as the Spirit, can't technically be called in-house, although many brands probably would jump and just say that, they do offer elevated sensation of value, as well as better spec compared to something like the ETA 2824, the SW200 you might expect at the price range. Now, the L888 is Longines nomenclature for the ETA A31L11, which itself is a modified ETA 2892A2, ETA's slimmer, more upscale alternative to something like the aforementioned 2824. Now, the primary difference compared to ETA's standard 2892 is a reduced rate altered from a standard 4 Hz or 28,800 vibrations per hour to a slower oscillating 3.5 Hz or 25,200 vibrations per hour, a frequency best known for enthusiasts probably from the Omega coaxial collection of calibers. In this case, the slower frequency is utilized to preserve the energy from the mainspring, extending the power reserve here to a capable 72 hours. Another thing that I like about the 3.5 Hertz beat rate is that it's going to look as if you're going to get a higher beat frequency movement, although it's going to split the difference between 3 Hertz and 4 Hertz. You can see the noticeable jump from 3 Hertz to 4 Hertz. In this case, negligible differences can be detected from the 4 Hertz to this type of beat frequency. Another, of course, important thing here is these are COSC certified movements, so accuracy is not going to be a concern at all. These are going to be tested at a variety of different positions before being cased up. In terms of general operation here, again, 25,200 vibrations per hour, 3.5 Hertz. It does feature hacking and hand winding, hacking stopping the second hand when you pull the crown to the farthest position, and a power reserve of 72 hours. In terms of accuracy, we did test both of these watches. They were running between 0 to +2 seconds a day when testing across 5 different positions, so delivering on that COSC certificate. All right, so now to unpack looking at the Longines Spirit. When I first saw these unveiled, I was questioning how they were going to transition when you get them in hand compared to the press photos, because on the surface, these just look like they could be your run-of-the-mill aviation style watches. What's the difference from a Hamilton khaki field? Let's address this first. This is a significant jump up from anything below it, say around $1,000 if you look at Fleer watches from the likes of Alaco or Stova, or if you're looking at something from Hamilton and their offerings. This is by far a more premium example and is closer to the likes of an IWC Mark 18 than it is to the likes of a Hamilton khaki field. I think on the surface, this collection has everything going for it to be the definitive everyday watches that have a mix of classic aviation themes with contemporary types of approaches. You have a well-finished bracelet, you have a well-finished dial, solid movement with the power reserve and a COSC certification to go along with it. These are simply wonderful watches, but they're just nearly perfect. They're not perfect, and I think the big reason is there needs to be some alterations to the design of the lugs. Now, this is not going to be an effect as much felt when you're dealing with these on a strap. I do think the bracelets are worth it, but you have to keep in mind that how these are going to wear on the wrist is going to be longer, and I think that's the number one challenge facing these pieces. I am all for having case sizes that are for a variety of people out there that should be wearable for all those involved. But it does seem like this was neglected in terms of the lug-to-lug and how all of these watches, whether you're looking at the 40mm option, the 42mm option, that they don't necessarily wear true to that size. They do wear about a millimeter, if not a millimeter and a half larger when you have it on the bracelet. You have it on the strap, it is closer to the actuals given that extended end link that is going to be on these, that is going to jut out quite a bit. But I bring this point up just because I think on paper, where these are positioned, this model family I am the most excited about from Longines in the next couple of years. I think they could build off of some of this momentum that this collection has developed. This is one of the more, I would say, contemporary approaches that I feel is best delivered by the brand. As much as I like the Hydra Conquest and the Conquest, those fall more closer to that $1,000 to $1,500 range. When you're talking about what is a definitive watch for $2,000 to $3,000, there are some options out there, but there is a lot of room to play in this price range to have that up specification. You get some heritage to go along with it, and just getting some good value for the money. I think if they figure out some of the wearability issues with these and try to get them keyed in even more, these will become, I think, some of the perfect watches for $2,000 to $3,000, no question about it. For the time being, still great watches if you can pull off that lug-to-lug dimension. Just know what you're getting yourself into, but I think this is a line that I'm a big fan of. I want to see continue to grow from Longines, and I think even today, the product remains is still a great one to consider in the $2,000 to $3,000 price range. All right, guys, well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe as well. It does help out the channel. But also, if you're in the market for this watch, check it out. It's available on TeddyBaldassarre.com. TeddyBaldassarre.com is a full authorized dealer of all the brands we carry, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the products that we offer new. So guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well, and I will see you all very soon.